event, David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde. A lightweight matchup that, hey, the winner has a rightful claim to fight the two light heavyweights that have fought for the undisputed championship. Either Beterbiev or Bivol next. But first, they got to get through each other. And I mentioned Ring 4, an incredible day, honestly, of boxing. Whole day, it seems to be, in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Let me know who you think is going to win, and subscribe, as I'll be talking about a lot of these fights and maybe going live to watch these fights along with you. So make sure you stay tuned with the Never Drop podcast. But first, let's talk about the main event. We got to talk about the main event. David Benavidez, the monster, 28 years old. What hasn't he done? Well, he hasn't got the big matchups yet. Canelo didn't want to fight him. He hasn't gotten Beterbiev or Bivol next. But you know what he's done? He's knocked out the next best opponents. Caleb Plant at 68. Boo Andrade at 68. Goes up to 175. Vostik, a very good veteran fighter. Then in his last fight against David Morrell, gets the decision win in that fight. A fight that I just rewatched. Boy, it's going to take a lot to beat David Benavidez, the man on the other side of the ring that night. Anthony Yarde, he's looking to do so. Yarde, he's been around for a while, a veteran in this game, 34 years old, 27-3. He's fought some of the best. He has fought Beterbiev in the past. If you were to fight him again, it would be a rematch, right? He's fought a Sergey Kovalev in 2019, lost to him, but fought him. The experience is there, and now he's trying to take down the dreams of a David Benavidez who wants those legacy and career-defining fights against a Beterbiev and Bivol at light heavyweight. Let's talk about this fight, though, because this is the one going down November 22nd. David Benavidez, I mentioned David Morrell. Very impressive fight from David Benavidez. You have to remember, before that fight, it was his first fight at 175. He had gone up from 168, and he fought Vostik, who I just said, excuse me. A fight that, okay, Benavidez looked okay. And remember, he was the co-main for Tank Davis versus Frank Martin. It was like, okay, I don't see the power as much. It came out, he had an injury on both hands, a fractured knuckle and a tendon, I believe he tore in the other hand. It's like, okay, he kind of wore himself out. In the Morrell fight, it was the total opposite. It looked like he had power, even though he wasn't able to knock down Morrell or get a knockout. He was damaging Morrell with shots, uppercuts especially, which could play a big factor in this fight. And his stamina was incredible. It felt like the entire 12 rounds. Benavidez, he started quickly, and rewatching it, the commentary was saying, hey, you know, Morrell needs to take advantage of the early rounds because of the fact that Benavidez starts slow. It wasn't the case in that fight. Benavidez started quickly in that fight, and he maintained that through the entire fight. It looked like he was a Bam Rodriguez or a Virgil Ortiz, the way he just had that same energy. Obviously, there were some lulls sometimes in the 11th round. Morrell catches him with some nice shots. And then it's like, okay, Benavidez in the 12th, he comes back out. And maybe it was partly because it was a grudge match. If you remember the build-up to Morrell versus Benavidez versus Morrell, the two absolutely could not stand each other. Props to him for making the fight happen. Huge fight, a great way to start 2025 off. But the two of them couldn't stand each other. So maybe that was the reason that Benavidez wasn't going to give Morrell anything to be, hang his hat on, be like, okay, let me build on this, get some momentum. No, Benavidez from the jump was, I'm taking control, I'm walking you down, I'm hitting you with shots, and that's what he did. Anthony Yarde in his last fight, that was back in April on the Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank, Conor Benn. Huge fight out in London. Defeated Lyndon Arthur. Final match of their trilogy. He wins the trilogy 2-1. Close fight. 116-112 on two scorecards, 115-113 on another scorecard, but Yarde does get the victory. Hey, he's been on a 4-fight winning streak after losing to Beterbiev in 2023. For Yarde, he's coming along. He's had a career where, hey, he's been extremely good, extremely consistent, but he's still trying to get on that top level. He's been at the doorstep, a fight against Beterbiev. He's been at the doorstep, a fight against Kovalev back in 2019. He lost a split decision to Arthur back in 2021. Yarde's looking to break through. He's looking to rise up and just say, hey, I'm still here. I may be 34 years old, and it doesn't matter. I'm the top contender for these guys in Beterbiev and Bivol. But man, it's a lot easier said than done when you're facing David Benavidez. Benavidez, And I'm going off the Morrell fight because I just rewatched the Morrell fight, and I thought it was extremely impressive, the work that David did. If you think about it, obviously it was his toughest matchup at 175. Yes, Vosdick was a veteran who's been in the ring with guys. Morrell's the young gun that people said, hey, he actually has more power than Benavidez going into that fight. Benavidez walked him down the entire fight, which is going to be a key for Anthony Yarde not to allow Benavidez to walk him down. Yarde's got to put up some sort of fight, and Benavidez has to have some sort of respect for Anthony Yarde. Because Benavidez had no respect. Morrell hit him with shots. I think it might have been the third or fourth round. Morrell clips him with a left hand. Benavidez is like, okay, cool. And they just keep exchanging. Yarde's got to gain some respect for Benavidez, or else Benavidez will walk him down. Benavidez would get in close quarters, uppercut, hook, straight shot. Like, anything he wanted, he was throwing and landing in that fight against David Morrell. And it's another big thing in this fight. I think maybe the biggest is the reach. Looking at it, David Benavidez has a 74.5-inch reach, while Anthony Yarde only has a 72-inch reach. So that's 2.5 inches. Height, Anthony Yarde 6 foot, David Benavidez 6'2", 2 inches there. So Benavidez is going to try and control, especially with the jab, the range. In that Morrell fight, Benavidez was not on the ropes. He'd push Morrell back onto the ropes at points, but there was only a few amount of times that Benavidez himself was on the ropes because he was controlling the pace. He was controlling where the two were in the ring. Anthony Yarde's got to figure out a way, how can I get Benavidez on the ropes? Anthony Yarde, he has to win the short exchanges in this fight. He has to. He has to land short shots, telephone booths type of style. Because Benavidez is going to want to slug it out. That's no doubt about it. Benavidez wants to slug it out. But at times, Benavidez will be on the outside, long right hands, left hooks, long left hooks. But then there'll be points where Benavidez says, I'm the monster. I'm El Monstro. I'm going to get on the inside and slug it out with you. At those points, that's when Anthony Yarde has to catch Benavidez with quick shots. Whether it be a quick right, left hook, uppercut, body. Benavidez went to the body against Morrell the entire fight. Started early, I think in round 7 or 8, the body punches was like 42-17 in favor of Benavidez. There was a point in the fight where Brian Campbell, on the announcing for PBC on Prime, goes, oh, you see the deep breath that Morrell took after the body shot he got hit with from Benavidez. He's got to find a way, and this is Yarde I'm speaking of, to try and slow down Benavidez, and maybe body shots is a way. You can't just go head hunting the entire night. Yes, Benavidez has been down before, and he technically was down even though later on it was clear it was a trip or a slip, whatever, from Benavidez to go down in that Morrell fight. But the body might be where you're most effective if you're Anthony Yarde. If you want to stop Benavidez from just coming forward the entire night, that's what it's going to have to be. You're going to have to use angles. That's why people thought Morrell was going to have a little bit of success against David Benavidez, because Cuban boxer, he knows angles, he can move around, and it turned into Benavidez walking him down and Morrell going straight back and just trying to box with him, or trying to fight with him, not try to box, because he wasn't using the angles to get shots on David Benavidez. Anthony Yarde, I don't know if that's in his game necessarily, to try and get angles and move around to beat Benavidez. That might play an advantage to David Benavidez. In fact, I think it probably will, but Anthony Yarde's going to have to show, I'm no slouch. I'm not someone you can just walk over this entire fight. Benavidez, once he gets going, he gets going. You know the combinations. You've seen the highlights. If he's able to rattle off shots, there's just portions where you put up the hand saying, I don't know. Anthony Yarde, we'll get in that Philly shell sometimes. Again, with the reach, that could be a left hook from David Benavidez or a right hook coming all the way around because he has those extra 2.5 inches pause that he can hit Yarde with a shot that, usually if it's a little bit more even, maybe Yarde doesn't get hit with going backwards, trying to do the shoulder roll or something like that. That's what's scary for Yarde. Benavidez from the outside at length, with the reach, I think he will be in control of the fight. And a lot of the times he's in control in the short range. Anthony Yarde has to show, no, the short range is mine. You may have the long range, but I'm going to try and get underneath that jab. Get on the inside, go to the body, go to the head, go to the use an uppercut, That's what Yarde has to do. I just don't know if, one, he has the, mobility, if that's in his game plan, like the footwork, to do that all 12 rounds. Right? You can do it for a round or a few rounds to start the fight. So, okay. Then you get hit with a shot, and the game plan goes out the window. Mike Tyson said it best. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. That was the case with David Morrell. Move around. He gets hit with some shots. Okay, let me just, try and fight this guy. That plays into the hands of David Benavidez. Benavidez, I mean, if you aren't watching Benavidez, you're missing out on a lot. This is a big guy who loves to scrap. He loves to just throw and throw and throw, and he'll get hit. His face after fights doesn't look clean because he said, screw it. I'm going to fight the best. I'm going to give fans an entertaining fight. And here we go. He's got a lot on the line. 175. He needs this career matchup against Bivol, against Beterbiev. And he's talked respectfully about Beterbiev, but Bivol, he's talked about I knocked him down in sparring, all this stuff. That's the fight. And he can make a statement here. Beterbiev, Anthony Yarde lost him via TKO in the 8th round. Corner stepped in, stopped the fight after Yarde went down in the 8th round. Benavidez makes a statement on this loaded, jacked card. He gets him out of there before then. Set the fights up. Set them up. So what are we thinking for this fight? What are we thinking? I'm interested to see whether or not Benavidez starts off as quickly as he did against David Morrell. Again, I think it was a grudge match, so Benavidez said, I'm not leaving anything to chance. If he does, Anthony Yarde's got to clip him early. Not like a wobbling type shot that, buckles his knees, but like he has to hit him with something that Benavidez goes, oh, okay, I just can't come in recklessly. Because there's times where Benavidez, when he's trying to back up or he's trying to move back, like his head and chin will be on a straight line. And you can get hit with like that, and Benavidez did by Morrell a couple times in that fight. Anthony Yarde, good puncher. Good puncher. 27 wins, 24 of them via knockout. So he can hit. He's also been knocked out twice. One was pre-COVID, which against Kovalev, I don't know how much I'm going to buy stock into, but then again, I get Beterbiev, who at that point had knocked out everybody. Has knocked out everybody except Bivol, to make a, real point about it. So, how is Anthony Yarde going to stop the reach and just the overall domination of David Benavidez? Because he gets momentum, he keeps coming downhill. And if Anthony Yarde's going to put his hands up, Benavidez is going to tear the glove down and come around with a hook. That was one of my most impressive things I saw when I was watching the Morrell fight. Morrell high guard, Benavidez pull it down, hook, uppercut. And Morrell's like, how in the world is this dude standing up right now? So for Anthony Yarde, how is he going to get the victory? Personally, I see this being a David Benavidez fight. I mean, even if Anthony Yarde is able to stop Benavidez from just marching forward the entire fight, that's a huge if. He's then got to control the fight, and I haven't seen people do that against Benavidez for 12 rounds. I saw Caleb Plant do it well to start the fight, and then Caleb Plant faded. And then Benavidez said, okay, let me go downhill. Let me get momentum. And we saw how that fight ended. If it wasn't for the ref, Caleb Plant probably would have been out of there. So, while Benavidez doesn't necessarily have the same amount of power at 75 as he had at 68, we haven't seen it. I haven't seen any knockout power. I think it's just a culmination of shots over shots over shots, round after round. I could see this being a Benavidez TKO. Ref stops in later rounds. 10-11. Ref saying, okay, I've seen enough, Anthony. You got to show me something. And it could be something as, hey, Benavidez lands something big, 8-9, then 10-11. Like, ref saying, Anthony, you got to show me something. And he doesn't. Or, I mean, just as much, I can see this fight going to the scorecards and Benavidez getting a decision win. It's hard for me to see Anthony Yarde in this fight, not only because of what I've said, the reach and just the power of Benavidez coming downhill, but it's Benavidez's moment, it feels like. It feels like he's running through everybody, not named Beterbiev, Bivol, and maybe Canelo, even though I'd probably favor him against Canelo at this point. We need to see Benavidez in a legacy matchup, and he knows that too. He wants to have these career-defining matchups while he's fought great competition. One of the guys out there in boxing who's not scared of anybody and fighting legit competitors in his weight class. He's saying, hey, if I'm number 1, I'll fight number 2. If I'm number 2, I'm fighting number 3. If I'm number 3, I'm fighting number 2 or number 4, right? I just feel like Benavidez is on a mission. It's like, yeah, he wants the titles. He wants all the glory. He wants the names, all of it. And I don't see anyone slowing him down except a guy named Beterbiev or a guy named Bivol. And even those fights, man, I'd have to look at him and say, I don't know. It's a close fight. I might go in the favor of Benavidez. But either way, November 22nd, that's what we're looking at. I'm going Benavidez. I'll say on record, late stoppage, even though I'm just as confident that it might just go 12 for a full decision. We'll have to see. Let me know in the comments what you think about this fight, who you got winning, what's your prediction, and then, of course, let me know what other fight on this card are you excited for. Make sure you subscribe to the Never Drop podcast. Hey, I'm talking about all these fights. I'll be having a Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. preview coming up very soon on this channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, subscribe. That's all I got for you. Peace. I'm out.